I'm sorry about that. They used to be on there. Let me go in and check and see if I can add them. Sorry about that. They used to be there. I guess they fell off, but I'll put them on right now.
How about that? How about that? AOC says my pronouns used to be there on her X account, on her Twitter account. Somehow her pronouns fell off. Got to get them back up. Huh? Maybe this whole Trump groundswell has the woke mob, the cancel culture crew. I'm shaking into the boots. So AOC removes her pronouns. Wow, 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 wow. All right, how about a little rapid reaction? Among the many skills that Donald Trump has shown us during his time in politics is that he is always going to show you and keep receipts. Check this out. The president-elect is now going after all of the talking heads who slandered his name, the shameless liars in the mainstream media, the people who advocated for his jail time and glazed right over the attempts on his life. Of course, Trump is no stranger to a courtroom. His legal team is second to none. They have fought and conquered all of the miserable fabricated battles that the left has thrown his way. All the lawfare, they took it down. If Trump takes you to court, you're probably going to get your butt sued and you're probably going to lose. As we've been discussing all week, the mainstream media, the legacy media, the media meltdown we're seeing in America right now is fantastic and fantastically overdue. President Trump is doing his part to make sure that the content that hits our airways is as credible as possible. He plans to give accreditation to non-legacy media members in the White House briefing room. Let me explain what that is. In the briefing room in the White House, you used to have to go through the White House Correspondents Association, liberal left-wing organization, CNN, MSNBC, all the broadcast, three-letter ABC, NBC, CBS, all of them, you have to beg them. Once a year, they change over who the president is, but it always came from one of them, always one of those lunatics, lefty lunatics, and you have to beg them just to get into the briefing room unless you're ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, MSNBC, and CNN. Well, now Trump's saying, get this. Imagine online personalities that have earned your trust and my trust, the Joe Rogans of the world and Dan Bonginos of the world, sitting ahead of the fake news when Trump speaks, because you have assigned seats in that briefing room. Do you know that? It's not who gets there first. You're assigned what seat you get. And there's always Fox right off the podium to the right, screen left. Right in the middle is AP. Over there, next to him is usually NBC, right behind him is CBS. It's always like that. Well, imagine if you put Bongino and Tucker, I don't know, I'll grab a seat in the front row, put Fox in the back row. Ooh, another incredible move for America. The early days of Trump 2.0 have already set a dramatic tone for this next presidency. Our adversaries must be terrified. Our lawmakers know it's time to step up and step back in line. But again, I go back to the legacy media because they will really be taking the brunt of the Trump hit. Our RFK Jr. has just revealed an absolute bombshell plan that would completely end the dominance of the legacy media altogether. Listen to this.
With a stroke of the pen, you can change back the rule that allows pharmaceutical advertisers to do direct-to-consumer ads on television. That's one of the big problems. That's why one of the reasons we have this entrenched agency capture, not only of Congress, because they control the airwaves, they control the evening news. 75% of the revenues for those evening news shows for, Anderson Cooper is coming from Pfizer and other pharmaceutical companies. So, and those companies are dictating content on those shows, and they dictate the official narratives.
So what he's saying is absolutely accurate. If you watch the legacy media, even Fox, MSNBC, CNN, you watch any of those programs, and every time you go to a commercial break, it's Ozempic or Wegovy or any one of these by the way, these really, really weird names for drugs. You notice that? These are the weirdest names. Who comes up with the names for these drugs anyway? So most of the ads in these high-profile shows on the legacy media networks are pharma. They have a lot of money to spend. So what RFK is saying, stop allowing big pharma to advertise right into your bedroom, right into your living room. Kind of like they stopped cigarettes, tobacco producers, to stop them from going right into your own home via the television. It's brilliant. So in 40 seconds, RFK Jr. just absolutely nailed everything that's wrong with the corporate media. Because let me just say this for a second. When those ads go into your home, that means the networks are beholden to those advertisers. Those pharma companies spend tons, billions of dollars advertising into these networks. So of course, the corporate overlords and the corporate boardrooms of ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox will tell you what you can and can't do so you don't piss off the advertiser. You are censored. I was censored. Not so much at Fox, but at Newsmax, I certainly was told you cannot go against the vaccine mandate. You cannot, because there were certain pharma, Moderna, et cetera, there's certain pharma companies that were advertising into the network. And if you piss off the advertisers, they pull their advertising and they pull the revenue stream into the network. So corporate media, it's horrible. I've experienced it, like I just said personally. The corrupt media doesn't give a rat's ass about right or wrong. If an advertiser is lining their pockets, these corporate executives will force their talent to suppress the truth and speak robotically about whatever narrative that sponsor wants pushed. Bolling, don't go against vaccines during COVID-19 or you're going to get fired. True story, over and over again, not once, not twice, not thrice, dozens of times. Listen, whether I like vaccines or not, I'm absolutely against mandating it. I was not allowed to say that, but I am here. If RFK is somehow able to eliminate direct-to-consumer advertising from Big Pharma, these news networks are going to lose a lot of irreplaceable chunks of their revenue. I'm telling you, folks, mark my words. If this actually pulled off, it's the end of legacy media. And it's coming faster than we thought and certainly than they thought. Of course, the radicals are shaking in their boots when RFK threatens to basically eliminate their safe space. Listen to AOC try and slander the guy, all because she knows her toxic world is screwed once he and Trump get a hold of it.
RFK Jr. And we were talking a little bit in the break. Let's bring that forward to TV. Some of the concerns you have about what he might do to HHS.
Yeah, I think it's what's very important, too, is that, yes, there are these concerns about that. You have a baby, and anywhere in the world, I mean, protecting against polio, against measles, against very serious communicable diseases that, I mean, we would be talking about going back to the, 1700, 1800. I mean, this is serious.
We can tell she just had some intern do a quick Google search on her iPhone about some of RFK's stances minutes before her segment with Joyless Joy Reed, and then blurted out that garbage to try and sound educated, but she ain't. She ain't. As is always the case with AOC, she's usually good for more than one ignorant clip when she gets nice and cozy on MSDNC. Here's more from her sit-down with airhead Joyless Joy Reed.
I actually think almost more than Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard's appointment is devastating. And Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, as much as she says that she's an anti-war person, she's not.
Yeah.
She supports very pro-war.
Wrong again, AOC. Just completely wrong again. I actually did a whole weekend, a rally in Washington, D.C., Rescue the Republic, and Rage Against the War Machine was the title of it. Tulsi Gabbard was the main speaker with RFK Jr., the two of them, anti-war people, libertarian people. Well, RFK is, or close to it. Tulsi Gabbard, I'm not calling her libertarian, but I know she hates war, hates it. So the concept of peace through strength is absolutely foreign to people like Joyless Joy Reed and that airhead AOC. They can't wrap their little heads around the why the United States should be flexing our muscles every now and then on the world stage. I don't want to go to war either, but we got to let them know that we could and we'd beat them if we did. and Trump's the guy to do that. They've gotten so used to being a weak embarrassment with Joe Biden and Barack Obama that now any sign of dignity or strength, well, it's some sort of red flag to AOC. Get over yourself, darling. One of the platforms that continues to benefit from the deterioration of the legacy media is X, formerly Twitter. CEO Elon Musk simply won't stop winning, and he's loving every second of it, too. After a brief and wildly unsuccessful PR episode, Disney, Comcast, IBM, and others, well, they decided to go back to advertising on X. Remember, they pulled their ads? They said they didn't like the way Elon Musk was leaning to the right, so they pulled their ads. Well, he wasn't leaning to the right. He was leaning against censorship. He was leaning in favor of free speech. He was leaning in favor of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. They tried to do so in silence, though. They didn't want the world to catch on to this tail between your legs moment where they're coming back to X. Yet, here they are after about a year. Why would these mega companies, why would they do such a thing? Well, it's pretty simple. Advertising on X made them money. That's why they came back. The fake woke morals that they pretended to have lost them money. This whole woke DEI push, go woke, go broke, it's simple as that. Let's wrap this Friday rapid reactions. Let's wrap it on a high note. Listen to Sylvester Stallone, Rocky himself, Sly, give Donald Trump possibly the best compliment a person possibly ever could.
Nobody in the world could have pulled off what he pulled off, so I'm in awe. And I'll just say this, and I mean it. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations.
That was pretty cool. That was last night at Mar-a-Lago during the big AFPI, America First Priorities, AFPI event last night. Thousands, hundreds or thousands of people were there. Charlie Kirk, who's over here, who was there. Jack Posobiec was there as well. Incredible. It just goes to show you that not everyone in Hollywood isn't complete moron. Just most of them. All right, folks, in 2021, we talked about this all week. We'd like to welcome our new sponsor, Goya Foods. What a great company, Hispanic food company. Bobby Donway runs it, good friend of mine. Well, in 2021, Goya launched Goya Cares. It's a global initiative to protect children and educate children on mental health. Goya Cares is providing schools and community centers with a preventative curriculum, an education curriculum, and a free assembly that includes the viewing of Goya Cares' movie called Press Pause. Press Pause is intended to raise awareness regarding mental health issues, abuse, and bullying among children, teens, and within our communities. Press Pause, it's an educational film following a little girl named Sofia Rodriguez, 15 years old, as she navigates adolescence, self-doubt, and an abusive relationship amid her parents' turbulent divorce. Set within the cultural context of her Hispanic family, the film explores her discomfort with unwanted advances in attention from her uncle and the pressures of maintaining a facade of perfection in high school. It introduces the Press Pause campaign, promoting kindness and advocacy, highlighted by Sophia leaving a note saying, "You matter," for a bullied peer. The film encourages open family communication about mental health and culminates in Sophia's transformative realization of her right to seek help. Through the power of empathy and small acts of kindness, Press Pause displays the importance of being proactive in supporting one's community and underscores the critical importance of self-advocacy. All right, how about today's Truth Bomb? All right, folks, let's call out the left for a couple of things. You know how the left is going crazy about the RFK appointment to the HHS secretary position? Well, take a look at this. Look at that full screen right there. This is from 2008 when Barack Obama was first elected. And what does he say? Well, he's considering RFK Jr. to his cabinet. And then there's this one. This one's really, really disturbing. So peaceful transfer of power means Joe Biden's lame duck. But what happens between November 5th and January 20th when Donald Trump is sworn into office is very important. Antony Blinken just said yesterday that Blinken will take whatever money they have sitting around, no matter where they can find it, and they're going to shove it to Ukraine. Can you believe it? One of the main reasons Trump is president again is because Biden has been shoving money to Ukraine when Americans don't want that anymore. We never really wanted it. This was a liberal thing. It failed miserably in the voting booth, and now Blinken is saying, whatever your taxpayer money that we can shovel together, we're going to stick it on an airplane and send it over to Ukraine. Folks, truth bomb here, these liberals are disgusting. They've been mandated to get the hell out of D.C. Trump said last night at that event, he said, how about I take over at the end of November? That might be a good idea. Truth bomb. All right, folks, attention, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. Attention, he, her, she, him, his, they, their, them, and it. Attention, all the colors of the rainbow. AOC is no longer to be referred to as she, her. In fact, AOC no longer has pronouns on her X account. So this is a sign of things to come, is it? Does this mean woke is finally dead in America? Is accidentally misgendering no longer a crime punishable by death, by guillotine on the left? Will the incessant rainbows on everything for an entire month, please just go away, especially on the freaking White House? Remember when Joe Biden had the pride flag and he flanked the pride flag with U.S. American flags with Old Glory? By the way, a violation of flag policy. The U.S. flag will never, never be subverted to something else, especially on the White House. Is the American flag about to become the pride flag once again? Folks, all signs are pointing to the fact that the woke mind virus is well on its way to being extinct. Allow me to explain. Take a look at this. So the X sphere, X, formerly Twitter, well, it's in an uproar, all because loud and proud squad member AOC made one little change to her profile on the platform. She removed her pronouns. She removed she, her identification at the end of her bio. Wow, absolutely shambolic. But how? How could she do this? What would Larry Fink think? Say it ain't so, AOC. What will the uneducated Swedish children think? What about the future?
How dare you?
Yeah, Greta Thunberg, how dare you? Calm down. AOC is still the same progressive, leftist, Marxist, socialist brat she's ever been. She's still a proud member of the woke club.
All of this debate that people are talking about with this woke thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's because we care about trans people, and that's why.
And by the way, only Donald Trump cared about trans people because he was the one running $130 million worth of ads. The Harris campaign said nothing about this issue.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Joyless Joy Reed, to be very clear, the Harris campaign tried desperately to stay away from the issue since Kamala thinks our taxpayer dollars, should go towards sex change operations for violent criminals in prison. But it's worth watching that ad that they were just talking about to make the point even more effective. Watch.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
The ad's brilliant. The ad was effective in exposing the woke mind virus. But back to AOC parting ways with pronouns. It's true that this move by AOC, which it turns out actually happened in June, but it's particularly, call it naughty, because 2 years ago, she not only apologized for not having her pronouns in her bio, but also insisted that everyone else add their pronouns as well. And by the way, do it immediately.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. They used to be on there. Let me go in and check and see if I can add them. Sorry about that. They used to be there. I guess they fell off, but I'll put them on right now.
Oh, sorry about that. Guess they fell. I don't fall off your bio, nut job. That was really, really, really a very different time in June, wasn't it? 5 months ago. And understand that we have to go back to the beginning. So how did exactly we get here, which you removed the pronouns again? Well, our little tale begins with a beer can and a forced error made by the formerly #1 beer in America, Bud Light. It all came to a head when Dylan Mulvaney, a man, I don't know, young man, somehow wanted to dress up as a woman, partnered with Bud Light in the worst beer ad, maybe the worst ad in human history, and they even sent him a beer can adorned with his face on it. Bud Light, formerly America's beer, decided to make Mulvaney its brand ambassador. A tranny as the brand ambassador, also making them the GOAT, greatest of all time, of ruining a brand in the shortest amount of time. Dylan, an adult male who dresses like and acts like a little girl, infamously shared a Bud Light promo on his Instagram, pretending that women are too stupid to understand college basketball. The day was April 1st, 2023, a year and a half ago. No, it wasn't an April Fool's Day joke. It was, in fact, very real.
Hi. Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate. This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too. Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too. Okay. Love ya. Okay, break a leg.
So before April 1st, 2023, Bud Light was America's #1 beer brand. Bud Light was also America's #1 beer brand in tailgating and sporting events. After that moment, that day, the world shifted in the beer space. Bud Light lost 25% in sales over the next year, thanks to boycotts all over America. Bars dropped the brand. Store shelves couldn't get rid of them. And so, go woke, go broke. Tens of billions of dollars out the window because they made a stupid decision to take a trans dude acting like a woman and slap it on the side of a Bud beer can with conservative men, conservative people, the major buyers of that brand. The outrage lives on until this very day. In fact, Modelo's Especial is still the #1 beer in America ever since. Think about that. A beer with the name Modelo Especial, #1 beer brand in America. That wasn't enough to stop other companies from throwing away their profits in the era of woke. Brand after brand dipped their toes in the rainbow waters. It was like watching a cringeworthy reality show, but the stakes were way, way too high. Who could forget the Target fiasco in 2023, the same year, when the store lost tens of billions of dollars because they thought it was a good idea to sell tuck-friendly swimsuits. Tuck-friendly swimsuits, meaning little boys, kids, could tuck, the little boys could tuck their junk so they could look like little girls. And they decided to sell merchandise designed by a Satanist in the month of June. Go woke, go broke, Target. And now several multinational corporations are significantly curbing or scrapping completely their DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion commitments. Ford, Harley-Davidson, John Deere are just a few among several companies that have withdrawn from the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index, a guide meant to tell investors how friendly listed companies are to the LGBTQ plus workspace inclusion. Transgender workplace best practices. Can't even say it, and so on. But why did these companies embrace transgenderism and other left-wing causes in the first place? Pressure from liberals, pressure from leftist organizations, pressure from the globalists. Pressure from the likes of BlackRock's Larry Fink and some of the other monster investors like State Street Bank and Vanguard, who made such huge changes a priority for them and therefore for investor portfolios. But guess what? Turns out that the investors like money and hefty returns more than they care about fulfilling some DEI dream or some quota or being inclusive. Investors like money. Hello. The New World Order, the globalists are all crying snowflake tears now that America has had it up to here with their economy-killing bullshit. Target only kind of learned its lesson, by the way. This year, they still sold some similar merchandise, but only in select stores. I guess locations matter. San Francisco, New York. Not so much in Oklahoma or Nebraska or Texas. Some change we're seeing more and more dramatic. Like, I don't know, maybe they're going to completely wipe out those product lines completely. And woke has been a sick, twisted virus that's replaced all other things for a while, even patriotism. A few years back, I walked past office buildings after office buildings and stores in New York and saw rainbow flags in windows and on walls to mark Pride Month. And I thought to myself, where are the American flags? They're being replaced by these rainbow flags. Was there not enough room in that window or to have that wall to have both flags? Did that rainbow flag really have to replace our country's flag during the entire month of June? But what about the stars and stripes? Where's red, white, and blue? Well, for starters, some of these snowflakes, the American flag became triggering. Remember that word? Triggering. Flag is somehow associated with being Trumpy or MAGA. Like that's a bad thing. For too long, it's felt like an either or situation. So either red, white, and blue or rainbow. They can't do both. Well, with the election of Trump 2.0, it seems like it's finally, the colors are fading. Red, white, and blue don't run, though. I realized back then what a metaphor that moment is for what's happening around the country and what a foresight is for what's happening in the country right now, especially that vote. And not just during Pride Month in June. Why does supporting one thing or one group always have to come at the expense of supporting another? Their woke obsession, the LGBTQ plus cause, these things become more important than protecting the core values of this very country. If ever there was a doubt that the woke mind virus is indeed a virus, look no further than this moment on CNN this week. Pay attention.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Sharmichael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, like, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me rephrase this since I'm being targeted here.
I don't.
No,
just to be clear, you are not being
but
targeted.
I am. But it's okay.
I'm specifically saying that I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
He should know that I'm not. He wants to sit here and bloviate.
I'm saying you're using a phrase that you know.
So the way regular people interpret it,
that's not regular people. That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys.
So African-American guy Sharmichael is the conservative, the white liberal guy is the liberal, and wow, that was explosive. But you notice how the host took the liberal side again, even though she's African-American. There's consensus these are actually boys, Jay. The consensus is science. The consensus is biology. Or does science and biology only matter when an evil so-called doctor like Anthony Flip-Flop Fauci uses it to justify mandates, COVID mandates? Is that the only time actual science matters to you, Jay? But that's the virus for you. The virus is in full force, the mental virus that woke is. It's in full force when someone refers to a biological boy as such, and it triggers a meltdown on national television. I'm also certain that men like Jay, if I call Jay a man without offending him for some ridiculous reason, I probably would, is in the minority once again, because over on MSNBC, where ratings are tanking, even Joe Scarborough is trying to sidestep the woke pile of crap.
And I'm not just saying this the day after the election. I've been saying this for years. This is not a hard call. You can show compassion and you can show grace. And as the Republican governor of Utah said, let's figure out a way to do this. But one way we don't do this is by allowing men who transition after puberty competing against young girls.
I'm going to do it here, folks. Joe Scarborough, you're full of shit. You haven't been saying that for years. You've been saying the opposite for years. You've been woke. You've been all about LGBTQ diversity. Bull crap. You've been saying it for years. You're a liar. You're a liar, Joe Scarborough. And me could just stand there and nod your head. Well, if woke is indeed dying, and I hope it is, and there are signs it is everywhere, well, that's down to us. That's on us. This is what you and I did. This is what we did. We saw this. We threw the rainbows and their sexualized kids' books and drag shows for children right back in their faces in the election. We used their cancel culture in a very effective way to actually benefit society. When they used it, there was only one reason for it, to set their socialist agenda and build their little socialist society. People like President Trump, Elon Musk, high-profile figures have helped push the movement back in the other direction towards sanity. The pendulum went too far left. It's coming back because we boycotted these companies. It was because we, and nearly 76 million of us, and still counting, by the way, made it very clear with our votes that we're done with the leftist woke, cultist bullcrap. Some on the left are willing to admit that the woke culture had a lot to do with the resounding red wave we just experienced. And it makes me feel as if the woke mind virus may finally be on its last breath. Human bodies take time to become immune to dangerous viruses, but eventually the virus is defeated as full immunity sets in. I'm hopeful that human societies, America especially, as an example, work the same way. And we're seeing the death and we're seeing the last throes of the woke mind virus as more and more Americans become immune to it. To me, this is the best part of Trump's smashing victory. Maybe Americans are tired of seeing rainbows on everything we buy and see. Maybe I'm tired of seeing rainbows on the White House. Maybe we prefer our rainbows to be in the sky. Thank you very much. All right, we do this every Friday, talk about the sports betting over the weekend. You can always bet on the teams that are playing the Jets and the Giants. I'll do it again. I don't know if one of them, the Giants may have a bye week this week, but I will bet whoever the Jets are playing. But here's the big one. See this happen this is going on Friday. We're taping this Friday. Here's Mike Tyson. Watch Jake Paul get slapped by Mike Tyson. I will tell you something. Boxing's fixed. It's always rigged. So you have to figure out what they want you to think and what they want you to see. They want you to think and see Mike Tyson is going to beat the crap out of Jake Paul. I love Iron Mike. I grew up watching Iron Mike Tyson knock people out with one punch in the first round. I watched a Netflix documentary. If you look and read into it, they're pushing you to bet on Tyson. I'm betting Jake Paul, folks. I'm betting Jake Paul. I have a side bet. If it goes 3 rounds or less, Tyson wins. But every other bet was Jake Paul to win, Jake Paul to go the distance, Jake Paul in a decision, Jake Paul disqualified, Jake Paul in a TKO. Bet Jake Paul because that's all scripted. Have a great weekend. Bowling out.